All right, welcome back to Sunday Chirps episode 5. We are joined by an athletic and an academic weapon, American All East tournament team, and finished 7th in Division 1 program history with 793 kills. Emma, how are you?
I'm doing great. Honored to be here. Really excited to chat with you guys. But yeah, just super excited, doing well. Just got back home from spring break, or for spring break. So
Awesome. And what you guys been up to the last week or so? Max, you want to start us off here?
Yeah, I've just been finished school, spring break now, just home, living life. Not much to say. What about you, Jared?
Just working. Tax season upon us. Gotta deal with that stuff. Not fun. Something I got to handle, and I'm just pushing it off. Otherwise, spring hockey starts up next week. Got some youngins. I think I'll be doing 8U, so got them tots. But yeah, living life. It's an absolute zoo down here. Traffic's worse because every goddamn spring breaker in the world is coming here right now. So it's a real fucking gong show down here, but otherwise been good. Emma, how about yourself?
yeah, not much. Past week was mostly just midterms week, so kind of grinding those out. But yeah, other than that, went to a volleyball practice. Now that I'm in the alumni stage, just trying to help them out. But yeah, just midterm stuff like that. And then, like I said, just got home last night, so I'll be home for a couple days, and then headed down to Florida too as one of those spring breakers. So
Nice.
Very nice. Where are you going in Florida?
Jupiter, my aunt and uncle live there, so go down, go to the beach, maybe hit the golf course a little bit, but yeah, just do some exploring. So I'm excited.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of you having all this free time now, what do you do with you coach now? What do you do?
So I go back to practices a lot with like the current team. Not that much coaching. I'll give advice like when I can, but more there just to like support the current players and do stuff so that the coaches don't have to do things like input balls and stuff like that. But yeah, I go to practice sometimes when I can. I started doing hot yoga. That's like a new activity that I'm started to do now that I'm retired. But still like lifting every once in a while, but mostly gotten into a lot more cardio. I'm trying to run a lot more. I want to run a marathon eventually, so I'm trying to get back into running. But yeah, still
Damn.
staying active. Yeah.
Is it weird having all that free time now that you're not like I guess an athlete? Well, you're still an athlete, but
Yeah. No, yeah, it's definitely like an overwhelming amount of free time because all like the only obligations I have are like go to class and then I work like study hall for athletics and stuff, but I don't have like practice, lift conditioning, I don't have games or anything to go to. So definitely a lot of free time, but it's kind of weird. I don't really know what to do with all of it. That's why I'm trying to try a bunch of new things. So
love it, love it.
yeah.
Now, let's kind of like start over like from the beginning. So we all went to high school together,
Yeah.
and like you guys went to elementary school together too,
Yeah.
and we all went to middle school. But you were a D1 athlete. It had like some leading up to. Obviously, you didn't just jump into it in college. I know for hockey, you play youth hockey. It's travel, then high school, sometimes prep school, and then sometimes juniors before college. What did your kind of stages look like?
I had a bit of like a different experience than most volleyball players, but volleyball is like pretty common to start in like elementary school at like a basic level, like kind of like recreational volleyball. And then most people start like kind of ramping up during middle school. So they might start playing like club volleyball, like a separate team from like a school team in middle school. And then you keep doing that into high school. So you start like you continue playing club. And then you can do like side teams too. So like a lot of people will try out like USA Volleyball hosts a lot of events where you can try out for like the national team or you can get put into like A1, A2, A3. And that's like a program where you go for like a week or so and you go to like a different college or like university, like somewhere in the country. And then you basically just get like trained by like professional coaches for a week, just to like ramp up your skills. And then they give you an evaluation at the end of the week. But most common things is to just like play for your high school team or whatever school you go to and then play club on the side. So for me personally, I started playing in like 7th grade. Like I'd played rec, like beach volleyball in a little bit in like 5th and 6th grade, but I started like actually playing on a CYO team in 7th grade. And I played for the middle school teams in 7th and 8th grade. And then 9th grade is when I played on the JV team for the high school, and I tried out for my first club team. So when I tried out for my first club team, I was on the like second team. So it was like gold, black, white, silver was like the ranking of teams. So I was on black when I was 15. And then when I went into sophomore year, I got pulled up to varsity for some tournaments, but like still on JV too. So it was like kind of a mix for school. But I was on the 16 gold team. And then my junior and senior years of high school, I was on the varsity team and the gold team, both my 17th and 18th year. So
wow, I didn't realize that you played varsity only like really 2 full years.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, is that young? I mean, is that like late to start playing volleyball? Like you said, 7th grade, right?
Yeah, that's like relatively late. Also, like, so I started playing, so like starting in like 5th grade to like play beach and stuff is like pretty average. But like, if you're really like, if you start out earlier, it's better. But I would say where I was especially late was like with club. Like I only played 4 years of club volleyball, whereas like I know girls who started playing club volleyball when they were 12 and they played all the way through 18. So it was like they had much longer time playing club than I did. So I feel like it's more common for people to start around the age that I started, but they get into club sooner and like doing like private lessons and stuff like that. But yeah.
Interesting. Do you think it's... Wait, I have a question. Sorry.
Yeah.
Do you think it's better to get recruited through high school or through the club team? Like, what do you think for colleges?
Probably club. You get a lot more exposure through clubs. So like high school, you might, like if there's like local coaches who can come by, like for Long Island, for example, like if the Malloy or like Hofstra coach can come and see you at like a local tournament, that's good. But overall, like club, you get a lot more exposure because you do a lot more traveling. So like our club always went to Lancaster, Pennsylvania for a tournament. And then we also went to Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and then we went to Boston too. And then if you qualify for nationals, that's usually like somewhere a lot cooler. Like I went to Detroit Nationals when I was 17 and then Dallas when I was 18. So.
It's funny you say a lot cooler and stay Detroit right after Boston. And
yeah. It's a fun experience.
All right. Transitioning to college now. What would you say a typical day in a D1 college athlete's life is?
Okay, so we could start with like preseason. So I always came back to school like a month earlier than like all of you guys, like all my friends, because our season starts usually at the end of August. That's like when our first tournament is. So we usually went back to Rhode Island in the beginning of August. We'd have like double sessions every day. So that's like 2 practices a day, both like 3 hours on average. And then we'd have like meals in between, obviously. And then after the second session of the day, we would usually lift for an hour. And then our team, like our coaches really liked for us to do another activity. So we'd either do like swim recovery in the pool. We would do yoga. We did a spin class a couple times, or we would do like some sort of like team activity, like watch a movie or something. But they were long days. Like we were getting up at like before 7 and then go to breakfast and then go through like all the stuff I just listed. But that was preseason. And then like a normal game day would be just like wake up, go to class. And then we got to the gym like 3 hours before the game. So like if we had a game at 5, we'd get to the gym or like at the locker room at like 2. You get dressed and changed normally, and then we'd have this thing called serve and pass, which is like 30 minutes, and each team gets a serve and pass. So like if you're the home team, you usually go first. So like our serve and pass would be at like 3 o'clock. So we do that from 3 to 3:30, and then the away team gets to serve and pass from 3:30 to 4, and then our warm-ups for the game at 5 would start at 4:15. So it's like a full 45-minute warm-up. So that was like all before the game, and then games on average were probably like 2-ish hours or so, and then just like do a post-game talk and stuff like that. And then practice days would mostly be like 2.5 hour practices, usually like Monday through Friday, unless we had games. And then Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we would lift after practice if we could. But unless we had a game or something, we wouldn't lift. But it was usually 2 to 3 lifts a week too.
Awesome. Real quick, I know hockey's pretty superstitious. Did you have like a pre-game meal that like I have to eat this before every game?
I was about to ask that too.
Yeah. I was never one to have like a huge meal before playing because I felt like it would like weigh me down. So I was big on doing like fruit, like if I could get like strawberry, grapes, banana before a game, and then sometimes like sneak something in like pretzels, maybe like cookies or like Teddy Grahams or something if I was lucky. But Teddy Grahams are like my favorite. Like if I had those before a game, I was like, let's go, I'm hyped. So, but yeah.
Love it.
All right, Jared, you want to go? All right. So now, next question: how does being a woman in sports compare to being a man, like the men's team? Like, how does that feel? Like, is there like a lot of like differences, or do you think like facilities are the same, like stuff like that?
Yeah. So I think facilities wise, there's some disparity, but like our building is called like the Chase Athletic Center. So that's like where the gym is. And that's where the volleyball team plays and then men's and women's basketball. So we all play like on the same court, obviously. And I think it's a really nice building. Like we all have access to it. So that's nice. And then all athletes have access to the Bulldog Strength and Conditioning Center, which is a beautiful building. It was only built like 6 years ago or something, but it has like all new like weight racks, assault bikes, like all the machines and stuff.
Sorry.
No, you're totally fine. And then there's like windows that look out onto like the football fields. Do you want me to start over? Should we just keep going?
No, you're good. Keep going.
Okay. But okay,
Sorry about that.
No, totally fine. So the Bulldog Strength and Conditioning Center is like where all athletes lift. So like every team gets like an hour to lift in there. And that's really nice. The only place that I see like a real difference between men's and women's sports is like the locker rooms. So like men's lacrosse, football, like baseball, like they all have, I mean, obviously their teams are a lot bigger, so it's necessary for them to have like size differences. But like, I know for a fact, like the baseball team has like couches, like TVs, like men's lacrosse and football both have like giant locker rooms too. Whereas like my locker room, I have to like walk through another like women's team's locker room to get to my locker room. So that's definitely like a little bit of a difference between men's and women's sports. But I feel like attitude wise, it's like very similar. Like everyone just grinding, like kind of head down, just want to get as much work in and do as best as we can as possible. But there is a little bit of a difference that I've seen at Bryant at least. So
Gotcha. Yeah, I was gonna say as far as like football and baseball, I'm like not surprised, but
yeah,
I mean I could be biased here, but I feel like women's volleyball might be bigger than men's volleyball.
yeah, we don't even have a school sponsored volleyball team. Like there's only a club men's volleyball team, so that like, they don't have like a locker room or anything like that. They get like gym practice time, but it's not until like 10 o'clock at night. So they're like, unfortunately, bottom of the barrel when it comes to like getting resources.
Gotcha. And then I guess another question, this is gonna be a little bit off the beaten road. What's the most sexist thing that someone has said to you? Like, do you have something off the top of your head?
Probably related to athletics. It always is like a classic like volleyball thing is like the difference between like men's and women's like net heights, because the men's net height for volleyball is like a little like significantly higher than the women's. It's probably like a foot or something. So I'd say like the most sexist thing would just be like a guy being like, why is your net like so much lower? But I mean, I've personally competed on both nets and like, there's definitely a difference, but I feel like any real volleyball player who's like relatively skilled and like wants to play like won't have a problem with the transition. Like I know personally it's definitely a difference, but you kind of just adjust on the fly. So but yeah, it's probably just the difference between heights is the most common thing I've heard. So
Gotcha. I mean, most people who haven't played with you, like all I know is like I mean I could like kind of keep the ball up going, and I'm like a very like I'm no D1 athlete by any means for volleyball. I could like kind of jump in for a rec league game.
You hold your own, yeah.
But I mean, I don't want to see a kill coming from you coming down the line. I'm getting out of the way. So
that's fact.
Thanks,
I don't know, that's pretty crazy. But kind of transitioning now to kind of the social life. What was the volleyball team like? Did you guys have like a volleyball house, or how did that work?
Yeah, so my freshman year, we had 3 seniors on the team, and they all lived in a house together. So, like, Bryant houses are either you live in a 5-person townhouse or a 7-person townhouse, and it's a lot more common to live in, like, a 7-person. There's not that many 5-person townhouses. So, when I was a freshman, our 3 seniors lived in a 7-person townhouse with some track girls, but, like, when they could, they would throw parties and stuff, and, like, all of us would go, and then my sophomore year, it was COVID, so like there wasn't really anything going on. The 3 seniors that year were all in different houses, and then last year, my junior year, there was 3 volleyball girls who lived in a house together, and they would like have us over, but they were in season at the same time as their housemates who were on women's soccer. So like we would have games Friday, Saturday, so then we would be able to go out on Saturdays, but like soccer would have games Sundays. So it was hard for like our team to have like the rest of us over just because of that conflict. But this year, my class is like one of the biggest classes Bryant volleyball has had in a long time. So there's 6 of us. So all 6 of us live together, and then we live with a women's basketball player. So like we do have a volleyball house this year, which is really nice. So we obviously like host everyone when we can, do a lot of like pre-games and smaller parties at our house, and then we kind of venture out.
You guys mix with the other sports teams, like have like men's baseball come over or go to men's baseball or something like that?
Yeah, so the block, so at Bryant, the houses are in like alphabetized blocks kind of. So it's like there's A, B, C, D, and it goes all the way to P, I think. So we live on a block called N block, and that's like there's 12 houses on the block, and 11 of the 12 houses are athletes. So even though there's like differences in like season and stuff, like for the most part we mix with a lot of different teams, but like we live next door to softball, so we hang out with them a lot. We're good friends with baseball, so we hang out with them a lot. And then both men's and women's lacrosse, men's and women's soccer. So we're pretty friendly with majority of the teams on campus and mingle with a lot of them. So that's good.
And these houses are on campus?
Yeah, they're all on campus.
And what about the bar scene? Is that off campus or is that walking distance still?
Yeah, so there's one bar that's walking distance. It's kind of like your classic like dive bar. Like it's literally like 20 feet before the entrance of Bryant. So like a lot of times we'll just like walk there. But that, yeah, it's like more of a sit down, like sit in a booth and get like a pitcher of beer kind of thing. And then like a couple miles away, there's another bar, but that's more of like a dance bar. Like it's a like Thirsty Thursday kind of place. So they always have like a DJ, and then everyone will go on Thursdays. And then this year, now that everyone is like legal, we don't have to worry about like fake IDs and all that stuff. We go to Providence because that's like pretty close, and there's a ton of bars down there. So we've kind of been exploring there, but for the most part, it was like more on campus or like off campus houses that we go to for parties. But now like the bar scene is becoming more popular. So
that's sick.
Yeah, it's a nice change.
Going on, who was your biggest rivalry, would you say, in volleyball? Either college or high school, either or clubs.
Okay. Yeah, so high school, it was probably Massapequa. Massapequa is like notorious for being like a fantastic school for volleyball. They had like a girls like team dynasty, basically. I think they won counties for like 16 years straight or something. So
Damn.
Our junior year was the first year. Yeah, we had won, I think in like a couple years, and against like before Massapequa, that was like, I think we'd won like once within that time period or something, and we weren't in the same division as them. So they were like our biggest rival. And then our senior year, we played them twice, like in conference, and beat them both times. And like that was like really, really exciting because we hadn't really done much of that before. But then it probably became Comac because that's who we played in the Long Island Championships, and that was like a super close game. But I'd say Massapequa for like most of my high school career. And then club was probably a club called Academy. I played for Sport Time. That was like my club. I played there all 4 years, but Academy was and still is like a super big club on Long Island, like very good coaches, like very good culture and program there. So they were just like our biggest rivals because they were super talented, and they've been like a bit more established in Sport Time for a while. And then college, when we were in the Northeast Conference, which was my freshman, sophomore, and junior years, it was definitely Sacred Heart. We had a really like intense rivalry with them because our freshman year we weren't that good, and then our sophomore year we were kind of on the rise, but like COVID kind of messed things up. And then our junior year we were regular season champions, and then we played them in the finals, and we unfortunately lost. So going into our senior year, we were kind of like amped up, kind of just searching for vengeance. But the school ended up switching to the America East Conference, so we couldn't really establish like a full rivalry there, but UMBC, it's like University of Maryland, Baltimore County. They were like top dogs, so we kind of picked them out as our rival. But
love it.
yeah, so those were all of them.
Awesome. I mean, you have a really accomplished playing career. Would you ever
Thank you.
consider coaching or something along those lines?
Yeah, coaching is definitely something I'm interested in. I coached a little bit in high school, and a little bit in like the beginning of college. So I actually used to work at my old club. Like when I would come home from college, I'd go and like help out coaching and stuff. And then my freshman going into sophomore year, summer, and the summer before that, I actually worked there like not full time, but like as much as I could. So I would coach a lot of clinics and camps and stuff. And then I also did like coaching private lessons. So I do like one-on-one individuals with a bunch of different players. So I did more of that a couple of years ago, and now like trying like with my future like career and stuff, I haven't been doing as much of it, but once I kind of settle down into my career, I definitely am interested in getting back into coaching a little bit. So
Awesome.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome. Also, okay, next question. What do you feel is the most beneficial thing you learned from being an athlete that you have been able to translate to into life? Like, what do you think you've learned?
yeah, I think like learning how to balance like my time. So like balance and like time management, I think has been huge. Like learning how to go to class and like show up every day and then make it to practice on time, like ready to go, do lift, like get my homework done, still perform on tests. I think just like learning how to have a lot of different things on your plate, but like still be successful in all of them has been huge. And then also like the teamwork and leadership skills, like just being able to work like effectively on a team, and then also being in a leadership role for most of my college and high school career. Just like learning how to like communicate with my teammates in a way that like I can motivate them and kind of encourage them and get my point across without it coming off wrong and stuff like that. I think being on a like college athletics team has really helped me with that.
Yeah, that'll
And
help
also
a
just,
lot.
like perseverance.
Oh,
Like
sorry.
grind. No, you're good. Perseverance. Like it's a grind, but just finding a way to push through it because it's worth it at the end of the day. So
Awesome.
That'll be sorry, Darla. I'll say that'll be huge for coaching,
yeah,
like having like the teamwork skills, like all that, like and like the management, like having a routine, like
Yeah.
sticking to it and like being consistent with it is like huge. I would see for like a D1 athlete.
yeah, and being able to like share my experience with like future kids I coach
Yeah.
too, I think is it's always helpful to hear like how what you're saying like can apply to real life. So
Sorry, Jared,
Awesome.
go ahead.
No worries. I say you've accumulated all these skills, and you're going into your final semester at Bryant. What does the future look like? Any idea for career path? What does that look like?
I'm definitely interested in pursuing healthcare. So I've always been kind of a science person, and I really like interacting with people, and healthcare is just something I've always been interested in. So as an undergrad, I've been studying biology and psychology, and my main goal right now, my plan right now, is to go to physician's assistant school. So I'm going to take a gap year, like regardless, but I just want to have some time to kind of settle down, kind of recharge before I do more school, but hopefully work for a year, either in like a hospital or a clinic somewhere as like a medical assistant or a scribe of some sort. And then I'd be applying for PA school sometime next year and doing like the interviews, applications, all that stuff. And then PA school is typically a 24 to 28 month program. So the first year is kind of more like classes and stuff like that. And the second year is more like clinical, like application based, interacting with patients, that kind of stuff. So that's the plan right now, take a gap year and then hopefully go to PA school. So, and then become a PA after I take the exam you have to take after PA school. And then, just work a normal 9 to 5. So,
Love it. Love it.
Yep.
Awesome. Grant, you got anything?
Yeah, we have the next question. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you want to live?
this is tough. I love Long Island. I'm a huge fan of living on Long Island, but if I could live somewhere else, I would love, so maybe not live permanently, but I would really like to travel a bit. So I definitely want to go to Europe and get some travel over there. But living wise, I could see myself living in Florida for like a couple of years just to, be in the South, be in the warm. I really like it down there too, but I really do like being on Long Island. I think there's like a nice like mix of everything. You're kind of close enough to everything, but yeah, I'd say Long Island is always going to be up there, Florida. And then if I wanted to be like in a city, I'd probably pick Boston because I really like it up there. So it's similar to Long Island, New York City, but it's a little bit chiller, slightly slower pace. So.
Ooh, I'm sure some Boston people are going to get a little tire pump there, going to be a little bit angry with that take, being slower and like Long Island.
It's close to New York City, but not the same.
Yeah, I get that. Honestly, perfect world would be, I mean, your winters in Florida and like
exactly
Long Beach for like the rest.
Snowbird, yeah.
Snowbird.
Yep.
Love it. All right, so that kind of brings us to hockey talk. So you're a Rangers fan, correct?
Huge.
Why Rangers? What made you be a Rangers fan?
So hockey's always been a huge part of my family. My dad played hockey, like all of his childhood. He played at Iona for college, and then he's always been in like men's leagues and stuff like that. My uncle played hockey. My older brother Thomas played hockey like for as long as he could. And then my brother Matt did like roller hockey, and so did Thomas. But ice hockey wise, it's just always been a huge thing in my family. Obviously, like growing up with my brothers, they were always huge hockey fans. My dad, and then even like my nana, my dad's mom, is like a huge Rangers fan, like diehard. And then my mom's parents were also huge hockey fans too. So it's just always been like family culture, my cousins, all that stuff. Like everyone's just always been super involved. So Rangers have just always been like the way to go. I could never be an Islanders fan, but it's Rangers.
They practice in Long Beach, Bryant Leach being there. Exactly. I mean, there's just so much Rangers.
Yeah, I was going to say it's just embedded in the Long Beach culture. Rangers, so
truly is. Jared, you want to go?
Awesome. Yeah, now we're going to go kind of through some stuff that came across our desk. Max and I will be coaching next year, some youth hockey. Max, do you know what age you'll be coaching yet or not sure yet?
I do not yet know, but I do know I'm coaching the Lightning for next year. It's exciting.
That's so awesome.
Maybe I'll try to get, I'll talk to our organization. Maybe I'll get you guys down to do like a little, we did a battle at the beach, I think, down here in Palm Beach. And maybe we'll get the Lightning down here for like a little winter tournament. That'd be fun.
That would be awesome.
I would love to go to Florida.
Love it. All right, awesome. So I don't know if I've spoken on the podcast at all, but been running into some stick issues as far as hockey stick. Been breaking way too many sticks. So I went and got a new stick maybe like a month and a half ago, not even, and then broke it like 2 days ago. It's like the third stick I've broken in the last like 6 months, which is so frustrating. And this one, I like looked, it's warranty 30 days. And I broke it. It was like 38 days ago I bought it. And I'm like, no, come on, don't do this to me. So I call up the Hockey Monkey, and then I get an email. It's a true hockey stick. So I'm like, you know what? I'll fill out the application. Maybe I'll get lucky. And like 2 hours ago, I get an email. Your warranty is approved. We're sending you a new stick. I was like, let's go.
Let's go. That's huge.
Huge.
Sticks are crazy expensive these days, too.
So the whole equipment, it's not affordable hockey.
No, it's not. I remember even when my brother Thomas was like a high school senior and he'd like break a stick or something, whether it was intentional or not, my dad would be like, oh, there goes another $300. So it's crazy.
Yeah, I've been buying like the $90 sticks, $100 sticks. It's just
that's how you have to do it.
It's a tough break.
Yeah.
Truly is. Also, the Bruins are 1 win away from clinching the playoffs. Very exciting time. What a team. I mean, do you want to talk us through that, Jared?
Yeah, I mean, they lost yesterday, being Thursday. They could have clinched yesterday against the Oilers. I'm pretty sure that they're scratching Grzelcyk and someone else. Like, they have so much depth. They could scratch players that would be second and third line players for most other teams. So when injury does strike in the playoffs, the Bruins literally are ready to go. It's really be a shame if the Bruins don't win the cup. I mean, I'd love the Rangers to, but the Bruins, I mean, they're throwing the Hail Mary. They have it all going. They have to win. I mean, they're probably they could be the greatest team the NHL's ever seen. I mean, they just broke that 77 Canadiens record. So, yeah, I mean, now just playoff time comes soon.
Yeah. Imagine being in Rhode Island with all those Boston Bruins fans trying to defend yourself as a Rangers fan. It's crazy. But I agree. Super exciting times. And you got to root for the Bruins with Charlie Mack up there. So
For sure.
Yep. Bring the cup to Long Beach.
yeah, exactly.
That would be pretty sick.
That'd be insane.
Awesome. I don't know if you guys caught the Dallas game last night. Dallas had 10 goals they put up on the, what was it, Sabres?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't even see that.
Nine
Hopefully
different
you got
goals
that.
scored. Yep.
It's
At the
insane.
over. And also what happened, Kaprizov, Zarel, huge loss for the Wild. He's out 3 to 4 weeks with a lower body injury. It's going to be tough on him. What do you think, Emma? Do you know the Wild?
Not really. All I know about the Wild in recent years is that they stole Matt Zuccarello and Ryan Reeves from us. Not gonna lie, 2 of my favorite Rangers players. So that was a little bit heartbreaking, but I haven't been following them too much this season.
They just loaded up on players. I mean, look, they are a weapon right now. Their team, they're hot. I mean, they're going to be a real force in the playoffs. I would not want to play them if I was in the West. So
Yeah,
definitely something to look at.
yeah. The competition in the NHL right now is just absurd. So
Seriously. And kind of changing gears, it's the Players' Championship right now in golf. I want to say Thursday, which is the first day of the tournament. Taylor, I'm going to botch his last name. Not Taylor. Hayden Buckley had a hole-in-one on 17, which is the iconic hole. Maybe like the third group out on the first day.
Fourth tee shot.
Just insane. So,
it's literally ridiculous.
and today I think four players hit 2 balls in the water alone. So I mean, making 8s and also 1s is just a crazy stat.
It is. All right, and then 3 years ago, some of the craziest things in the world, COVID had shut down sports, and Rudy Gobert, touchy all over the microphones, and we have lost sports. But look where we are now. I mean, now we have the playoffs are coming soon, and sports are kind of already resumed, back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's just a crazy time.
the bubble was wild for all sports.
It's like
really,
the first full normal year, I feel like, for sports. Because even last year it was like we would travel with like masks and stuff. Like it was still not normal. So this was a refreshing year, I'd say, for all of athletics.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, hockey, it's going to be a crazy year coming down to the wire. Final 15 to 20 games for each team. Got the dogs barking, love it. But yeah, I mean, more or less what we've got is we've got a crazy finish to the year. I don't really know who's going to win the cup. I mean, if I was betting, I'd bet an Eastern Conference team to win. They just seem so much stronger. But at the same time, I could see the West, just someone coming out just fully healthy, whereas the East, I think, is going to be an absolute bloodbath. So whoever comes out of the East might just be at all wrecked, hurting, and maybe the West will win it this year. So I don't know. You can see it either way.
Any East team, I feel like, could just easily be gassed by the end of the Eastern Conference. Like you said, I feel like there's going to be a lot of games. I mean, series to 7, so we'll see. It'll definitely be interesting, though. I have high hopes. So,
yeah. Any last thoughts before we jump into the top 5 segment? All right. Emma, would you like to start us off with the top 5 teams right now? The scariest 5 teams you think right now?
Yep. So we kind of touched on a couple of them, but my top one was the Bruins. I just feel like they're super solid this year. A lot of talented guys, like you said. Bench goes super deep, and I feel like right now they're just kind of steamrolling through the NHL. Like no one's really giving them any trouble. So we'll see how they fare in the playoffs. I feel like that's sometimes the theme with the Bruins is they do really well in the regular season, and then playoffs they get a little shaky. But I have some confidence that they're going to do really well this year. Then next, I say the Hurricanes. I feel like Rangers-Canes have always been a good rivalry, and I feel like a lot of times we play them and they sneak up on us. We think we have the win locked in, and then they kind of sneak up on us, sometimes stealing it from us. So they're always someone who's on my radar. And then the Oilers, I mean, obviously McDavid is just so dangerous. You can't even deny it. So any game that he's in, it's probably going to be a tough one to win. And then the Penguins, I just feel like that's a classic rivalry we have. They're kind of unpredictable. You never really know what they have going for them, but I feel like you can never fully count them out. And then last, I feel like the Devils are kind of on the rise. Like Jack Hughes is playing pretty solid, so I'm curious to see how they do. But yeah, my top team, without a doubt, is definitely the Bruins. They've been having, and like you said, a record-breaking year, so hopefully there's more good things on the horizon for them and the Rangers, of course.
I agree. Those are good takes.
Good takes. Love the pesky veterans of the Penguins.
Yep, classic.
All right, I can go, Jared.
Right.
I agree. I think the Bruins is definitely the scariest team right now. I mean, you can't deny stats. Numbers don't lie. They still don't have 10 losses, I don't think, in regulation, which is pretty insane. I think they're at 9 now, right?
Yeah.
Since the last time we talked, I think. Which, I mean, it's just impossible to beat them. We talk about this literally every time. You cannot make mistakes. I mean, there's literally no weaknesses to this team I can see that I've watched. They're 9-1-0 in their last 10. Edmonton beat them, like always. Number 2, I would have to say, is the Hurricanes.
We all have those too.
Let's go.
I actually hate playing against them. They scare me every single time. The stress I get from that, I could probably get an ulcer. But that's just what it is. And we just have to accept that they're just a very complete team and they're just a threat. Number 3, I went with the Wild. I wanted to bring some West in. I think they're a really good team. They're on fire right now. Gustafsson, their goalie, has been playing amazing. I really like him, and he's helping them get the 1 seed. They're only 2 points behind it. And, I mean, losing Kaprizov sucks, but I guarantee they'll get him for the playoffs. For number 4 on the list, I'm going to go with the Senators. They're starting to come together and make a push for the playoffs. Stützle and Kachuk, I mean, what a team. I love watching them. They're 7-3 in their last 10. It's a great team to watch. And I'm going to make a lot of Ranger fans mad about this, but I took the Islanders for number 5. I think when they get Barzal back, they're really going to be a team that's going to be tough to beat. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Dean on this. But they just need to separate themselves for the playoff spot. And I think last night winning against Pittsburgh was huge for that. And I think they're probably just about to clinch that spot. And they're going to be a threat. I mean, they have to play the Bruins or in the playoffs or someone else. Who do they play?
Who, the Islanders?
Yeah.
They're only 4 points behind the Rangers. They could be sneaking into that 3rd seed.
But they're also 4 games ahead of us.
Yeah.
3 games.
So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of shaking up. The whole West, I think, there's 6 teams that can make that wild card spot. I think that's Ottawa, Buffalo, Islanders, Penguins, Capitals.
East,
and then,
not West.
That's what I meant, East. And then the Rangers, Devils, and Hurricanes. The Devils and Hurricanes could flip. The Rangers could fall to a wild card. There's 8 teams in there that you have no idea what's about to go down. So the next 4 weeks, I think playoffs start April. I mean, the regular season ends April 13th, I think. Mm-hmm. So the next 4 weeks are about to be an absolute zoo, kind of like Fort Lauderdale right now. So we're going to see what happens. I really don't know.
We are.
NHL is in shambles, to say the least.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I think every game's a must-watch. Yeah. Maybe aside from those Pigeons in Arizona or Chicago, the AHL Blackhawks. So,
yep.
But yeah, let me kind of go through my top 5. Bruins number 1 as well. I mean, they're just top to bottom, by far the best roster I think I've ever seen. If you're building out a team in Chell, you could pick them. I think it's not debatable that they have the best goal in the league right now and the best backup goal in the league. Their roster is unreal. They have 4 lines of players that could play. They grab Bertuzzi, which is just absurd. And their 6 defensemen could probably all be at least a number 3 guy, probably number 2. I mean, Orlov, McAvoy's your pair 1. That's ridiculous. Lindholm, Carlo, and then Grzelcyk, Clifton. And on your injured, which might come back in time, Taylor Hall and Nick Foligno, I don't think it gets much better than that. Number 2, Carolina. Again, I don't think they have the superstars Bruins have, but they have depth like it's no one's business. I mean, the fourth line is Nosen, Paul Stastny, and Derek Stepan. One of the best fourth lines I've seen. And then your number 3 defensive pair is Ghostabear and DeHaan. Like, that's ridiculous. I don't know why my emphasis was so weird in that. I think their biggest worry is going to be goaltending between Freddie Anderson and Kochetkov. Kochetkov. They can get hot, so that's what I'd be worrisome of. But as far as forwards and D, it doesn't get much better than the Hurricanes at number 2. Number 3 is going to be Minnesota. They've been on a tear lately, made some sick acquisitions at the trade deadline. They've also got great depth. I'm not going to kind of go through every team, but they're scary. They got some big physical players. They got some scorers. Kaprizov is a sick puppy. He's injured, though, for the next 3-4 weeks. That's fine. He'll rest till playoffs. They're going to get a spot.
Yep.
He'll come back healthy and just merciless. Number 4, I hate saying this as a Rangers fan, it's the Islanders. They're a scary fucking team. They have 4 lines that are ready to go every night. They have one of the best goaltenders in the league. And they've got a solid defense. And when Barzal gets thrown in that lineup, does he throw off the chemistry? Probably not. I think he's probably just that little trade deadline ad almost that they're going to throw in right before playoffs. If they could sneak in, which they currently hold the position, you don't want to play him. And I think every week we've talked about this, but I'd be licking my chops at an Islanders-Bruins playoff matchup. So that's my number 4. And I think one of the most sneaky teams is going to be the Dallas Stars. They've got some veteran leadership. They got some young guns. I mean, Robo's a weapon out there. Ottinger's sick. And then Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, and Joe Pavelski, 3 veteran players that are ready to go and are getting it done every night. So I'd be scared of them. And they got some other rookies in the back end as well, like Heiskanen, Rupos. No. Regardless, they are a freaking team. They're a team to beat. So that brings us to our top 5 players to watch. I don't know if he's on any of your lists, but we'll go McDavid as an honorary. He's playing a different sport, so he's everyone's number 1. So we'll just start with number 2. So we'll do 2 through 6. And Max, you want to lead us off for this one?
Yeah, I can. Number 1, I had Dawson Mercer. He's on 11-game point streak right now.
Goal streak, I think.
No, just points.
Points?
During the streak, he has 11 goals, 8 assists with a +8 rating. I mean, that's exactly what the Devils needed. And going into the playoffs, he's going to be good. Number 2, Tim Stützle, the young 21-year-old forward. I think he has like 8 points in the last 5, something like that, which is just ridiculous. So good for him. Number 3, I had put Pavel Buchnevich. For the Blues, I mean, he's probably playing some of the best hockey he's played in his career. I think he's second in the team in points, also lighting it up, and one of the dumbest trades the Rangers have ever made in recent history. Number 4, we have Kopitar. Kopitar has been extremely hot. 4-goal game, I think, last week.
Yeah.
And just lighting it up. And last, Islander faithful, Bo Horvat. He is playing like a captain should and leading his team to the playoffs, which, I mean, is what they needed during the trade deadline. And I don't think it's an overpay at all. Hot take right there.
I think it's a good take.
You want to go?
Sure. I mean, obviously McDavid's top. I don't even order for mine. I also had Dawson Mercer in my top 5. He's been just unreal for that team. They've got a lot of weapons. I don't think it's their year to win, But the next 5 years, we might see a New Jersey dynasty, which I hate. Like the first New Jersey dynasty since like what was it, the Brodeur, Brendan Shanahan era in the late '90s, early 2000s. Another one, Pasternak. I mean, I don't think there needs to be much said. Guy's got like 45 Genos, another 40 something apples. He's sick. That whole team obviously is insane. Not going to dive too much into that. Then we got Erik Karlsson. He actually is a career high in points. Got like 15 games left. Dude, that guy is sick. He needs to get some players or leave that team and go somewhere else.
His contract.
He does. I mean, he deserves it, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's $11 million contract. Like, no one just wants to take that on. I think we've discussed that before, but it's a brutal contract.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they'll eat like a quarter or 50% to trade him. Maybe at the deadline next year. Who knows? Another Islanders tire pump. Hate to do it, but Brock Nelson, big OT winner the other night. I think that was last night against the Penguins. No, I mean, he's leading the team by example, putting goals in, making plays. He's sick. And I think this guy, my next one and last guy, won't be on anyone's list. Ryan Donato. He's not exactly putting up points, but he's making plays. It's not going on the score sheet as much, but he's like, you notice him playing. I was watching a Kraken game the other day. He's out there making hits, causing turnovers, making big plays. He's going to be a big player in the next couple of years. That's my hot take. Ryan Donato, big player in the next few years. Emma, you want to break us down?
Yeah, sure. So you guys have some nice like statistics-based players. Mine are a little bit more maybe biased or like my own interpretation.
It's all right.
I love it.
But I also had McDavid. It's just undeniable. He's like an unbelievable player. So obviously he was on my list. My second player, some of the bias comes in here. Patrick Kane. The main thing for me, I just think there's a lot of eyes on him. His name is in Showtime for no reason, but I'm just really curious to see how he does in New York. I remember when like the original trade was going on when we got Tarasenko. I wasn't disappointed, but I had my eyes on Kane, so I was a little upset. But now that we have him, I'm just really curious to see how he does. And I think now that he kind of opened the floodgates against the Canadians, hopefully he'll kind of settle in a little bit and kind of do what he needs to do. And then I also have Cale Makar. I think obviously he's a fantastic defenseman. I think he's definitely a good contender for the James Norris. Again, I just feel like he's a really captivating player, so I feel like we should always have our eyes on him. And then shout out to the Senators. I think Chychrun is a really good two-way defenseman for them. So I think he had a bit of success against the Rangers, but I feel like he's just like a solid player, and he's been doing particularly well this year. And then someone me and my dad have had some conversations about Ryan O'Reilly. I know, unfortunately, for the Leafs, he had an injury a couple days ago. I think he broke his finger or something. So, yeah, he's going to be out for a couple weeks, but I felt like he was a good honorable mention that should be included. And then two other people, just obviously I love to watch Charlie McAvoy, Long Beach native, great representation for us. But I just always think he's definitely like the people's champ. Like everyone loves him. He's a great guy, and he's always great to watch. And then my last person, a bigger name in the NHL, obviously, but I think Ovechkin is definitely someone to watch. He's obviously a great player. He is a little bit older, but just curious to see if he is going to pass Gretzky in the record books. But I feel like you can never count him out. So those are my top five, a little bit more basic, but.
That's a solid top five.
Very solid.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to jump to the Would You Rather segment. And just real quick before we do, this Rangers roster, I mean, we talked about a few other rosters. If you told me this was the roster 2 months ago, I wouldn't believe you. Seeing like a Tarasenko and a Kane in that roster, dude, every Rangers fan owes Chris Drury a double wrister.
Yeah.
I mean, special
seeing them
stuff.
in Rangers jerseys on the ice is like, it's almost unfathomable. I'm like in shock every time. Like when Kane came out on the ice the other day, I was like, this is unreal. Like it's just so bizarre, but fantastic too. We love it.
Awesome. All right, Max, you want to start us off with the Would You Rather?
Sure. Would you rather be a Hall of Fame hockey player with 0 cups or a third-line player for 8 seasons and win a Stanley Cup? I would choose personally to be a Hall of Fame player and not take a cup, honestly, because you're still remember. You're like Lundqvist or like I don't know, like Pat Maroon. Like, which one would you rather be? I would rather be Lundqvist to me.
I think Pat
Jared?
Maroon's a bit of a
Well, Pat Maroon's got 3 cups. But
I was gonna say that might be a game changer. I don't know. I think I'm gonna be a third line. Kind of just a grinder. I'm putting up like 40 points a year, and I'm gonna take my cup, and I'm gonna take the cup. I think.
So when I first heard the question, I was immediately like third line winning a cup, but I see where you're coming from, Max. Like being in the history books would be cool, but I think at the end of the day, I have to go with winning a cup. I feel like from personal experience, like I've won like accolades for like my own personal achievement, but never, unfortunately won like a conference championship or something. And I think that stings just a little bit deeper than the happiness I feel for the personal awards. And I think just like having that success as a team would be way more fulfilling personally, and like having a Stanley Cup ring and like bringing the cup to my hometown is unmatched.
Team player.
Yep. Team player.
All right, awesome. Our last would you rather question actually isn't a would you rather, just a question. But would you date an NHL player of your least favorite team? Like that's on your least favorite team. It's like a Devils or Islanders player.
That is a very challenging question. It also depends, like, how long is their contract? Like, are they settled in with that team for, like are they locked in? Like,
they're locked in 8 by 8.
Like 8 years?
Yeah.
Like a Jack Hughes.
That's tough. I mean, I don't think I'd ever be able to, like, root for their team. I could root for them, but I could never be like, oh, I'm a Devils fan. Like, that would just never happen. It's always Rangers tried and true, but I don't know. I mean, that might be a really cool opportunity, but I would never be able to root for the team that they were on if it was like a rivalry team or something. Like if they're on the Wild or something, I'd be like, all right, go Wild. But it's like any like metropolitan rivalry, I'm never rooting for them. I might root for the player, but
Charlie McAvoy's girlfriend, Kylie.
Yeah.
Her dad is the Penguins head coach.
I didn't even realize that.
Oh, you didn't realize that? So
No,
her dad's Mike Sullivan, the Penguins head coach.
Yeah.
So basically, she talks about how she goes like, "Oh, go Charlie, but let's go Penguins," because her dad's coaching the Penguins. So she's in that kind of tango right there.
Yeah, I feel like that's the best way to strike the balance. Is like you're still rooting for your person, but like you don't have to root for the organization. You don't have to see them succeed.
Yeah.
You guys see. Yeah, your hometown team. So.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Emma, for coming on, and definitely have to have you on again sometime soon.
I would love that. Thank you guys for having me. It was great.
Thank you, Emma.
Have a good one.